Hello, good morning. I hope you're enjoying your summer vacations. Summer vacations are on. We are just gearing up to get out of this pandemic. I wish, I want all of you to take care of yourself, wear the mask as much as possible. Mask, this is what gonna save you from all the challenges that you have as on date with respect to the pandemic. Wear mask, get vaccinated, and be safe. So yeah, we just into the yet another stream of test automation. Very interesting one. We are finding a lot of traction across. Uh, this is something which has been very closely been taken seriously across the globe. That we have seen the way it is. Having said that, ERPs, the applications, a lot of challenges, people moving to cloud, on-premise upgrades are happening, where a lot of things are getting cluttered and a lot of complexities are coming in place. Having said that, one needs to have a proper mechanism in place through which you can safeguard uh, your application, your business processes that are mapped into your this thing applications, into your ERP applications. Interestingly, last week we went live with one of the another big customer that we're looking for. Multiple rollouts, multiple phases that have been planned over there. Interestingly, the benefits that were assured, we kind of reaped more than that, and we were not, and the benefits that showed up in the form of a smile, where things were literally getting automated and moving to the other side. And there were a lot of new learnings as well on that side, where we customer got to the next level where he wants to see what's happening back end as well, where there are multiple ways and means that you can interact with the system. That's new way of that we saw. There were new protocols that we got introduced, which we decided to introduce as a part of this one. And I thought, like, what better it could be than, like, if I can share across those learnings with you. So I'll just quickly take you to the slides. This is more focused on the InPer ARPLN and Cloud Suite. The test automation suite that we're talking about, it's as clear as like regressions. It can be a regression, it can be a smoke test, it can be uh, uh, it can be like it can be like your gatekeeper before you promote your promotions to the production, where you ensure that all the systems are working as per your business processes and are in uh, sync with your processes, and you're not prepared, you're covering your risks via this, and you're well prepared to take address this uh, the major risk that we have seen is uh, the one that you're not prepared for, right? So that way, I'll say, like, this is where the test automation suits comes into play. Slight introduction about Sailotech. uh, we are technology driven. We have expertise on the technology driven transformation for enterprises. That's how we work, be it the supply chain, finance, industry 4.0. Now this test automation part that we're talking about. We are CMMI Level 3 apprised, ISO certified on 27001 and 9001. Head office, we are based out here in Maryland, and we have branches there in India, back there in India. We have in Japan and Kenya as well. And we talk a lot about transformations, and that's where we bring the value to the customers, to our customers. And I'll say, I have personally, we have 99% customer retentions. That's beyond this thing at this time when things are moving really fast across when it comes to adoption of technologies. Quickly, let me introduce Test Assure as a thought process. It just started way back when we were establishing the practice 2015. One of the big enterprise customer for the financial services was our first customer, where we help them build their releases, which were like every week, every third day there was a release, and we had to be very agile, very on our toes. That's where the thought process started, and that's the hard way we learned the test automation. So just quickly put the frame of this particular webinar into your head, like what exactly we're talking about. Are you able to validate? I'm just going through 4 different questions which are very essential to understand, like why exactly you need a test automation as a automation suite available at your at your fingertips. To Are you able to what so releases could be quarterly, it could be monthly, some patches are being applied, it could be the releases could be like, say you need a downtime versus you don't need a downtime. Without downtime also, there are some releases, small releases that can go into the production. So whenever there is a movement to the production, are you able to validate that without facing challenges? That's a big question, and this is where also like it starts from the change management, as well as like it talks about a lot of testing getting into it. How secure is your production system? From how vulnerable is your production system? Again, like that's the other way of putting up that question. Does your users spend a lot of time on testing, like manual testing? They're doing all phases, all complicated flows and complexities they're addressing before a patch moves to the next level. So how much time do they spend? Are they spending more time? Are they the regular users who are actually working on performing business critical tasks and you're employing them to do the testing? Or is it like, who is owning this testing? Is it done by the business users versus your IT guys? I'm the IT guy. If I'm promoting a patch to the production, I expect the business guys to do the testing. And that's where the value comes in. That's where they give a sign off and this goes into production, right? The big thing that we learned as I talked about is like implementing automated testing. Have been Customers have been able to reap the benefits. I have seen a customer which has worked through it, and he is now looking at more services where the benefits came in like a month later, because they had a big release plan over there and he was targeting to test out this particular suit that time, versus the last week customer, like who is already happy to see the benefits coming out of it, this continuous delivery and the innovation part. And the thing important part here is you have make sure that there is a gatekeeper, as I talk about, as I call the test automation suite, a gatekeeper to your production, where the validation, it has to go through that validation. If it's valid, then only the be it a small or a big or a complex patch, be it a custom patch, be it a standard patch, it has to be tested. So in this particular webinar, I'm trying to cover how ERP customers are able to leverage the automation testing as a service. It could be as a service, it could be custom built specifically for you, because if it's standard one, which I am prepared for, this is something like I can call it as a service that you can take to move from the traditional testing, where a functional person, a subject matter expertise sets down a guy who is aware of a person, a responsible person, is aware of end-to-end part of it. He knows where exactly the system can be compromised when you're promoting a particular patch or a particular solution into the production. So he's aware, and he's doing the traditional testing manually, spending hours. He has booked his hours into that particular task, versus continuous testing of the application. Means continuous means there is a system, there is a automated bot kind of routine that is running backend, which is actually executing all the time and testing the flows, right? So this is what that we are targeting. This is what we are looking into, and this is what is the part that we're talking, right? So having said that, just give me a second. Executing. Right. So quickly, testing, as I said, it is an organizational responsibility. If you think this should be done with IT folks, no, it's not IT folks' activity. It's the business responsibility, because production system belongs to the business. Any of the test system and the development system belongs to the IT. So having said that, this is an organizational responsibility, and this expense has to be not looked as a cost, but this as part of your production system. And the part here is, if I talk about the use case, the business processes are complex, tightly integrated, coupled with multiple applications, including ERP. It could be CRM, it could be CPQ, it could be PLM, it could be whatnot. Like you might be having small systems. Maybe your orders are coming from e-commerce. Maybe there is a different system over there sitting where your salespeople are keying in the sales orders, and that entering the orders that gets created upon approval gets created in the ERP. The delivery part, the shop floor, the movement of the inventory, the final the picking packing, that is how it's happening. Delivery notes, the order of the documents that are getting prepared, versus to the extent like maybe you want to check on the quality, the inspection part of it, the interactions, that the integrations with your vendor portals, the integrations with your customer portals, the transparency, the traceability that you talk about. I think I'll say like everything can be automatically tested, and that's where when I say testing manually increases the complexity and there is a scope of manual error. I'm saying it's not always an error, but there is a scope. And an error could be a fatal one. Like when it hits the production, you never know. It could be one of the big thing. Say, just came across one of the instance where there was a shipment that was not supposed to be shipped. There was a patch that came in from standard, and the standard did not go well with the custom code that is lying over there, and the shipment got shipped. Now the thing is, now who owns this error? Now this is where the test automation comes into play, where you need to identify what is your critical to start with, and that's where you have to employ a test automation suite, right? So from the Sailotech standpoint, our preparedness on the infer, the reason why I'm categorically saying infer is like infer has gone beyond imagination. The way it has evolved with time, I'll say like as on date, it's the only solution. I'll say like other ERPs are catching up with it, but the way infer has gone multifold when it comes to adoption of technology as well as the cloud adoption. They have cloud variants, which is very sophisticated cloud suites they have built, which is completely on AWS based cloud, works as a service, and it can be configured so well, so beautifully that it fits your business requirement end to end. So having said that, not limiting to the info, be any ERP for that matter, because when it comes to testing, when it comes to your production system, I'll say like you can have we have our framework supports of them. So our preparedness, if I talk about, is something from this part. A regression, if I say the major challenges or major primary task for which you have employed your ERP is procure to pay, record to report, plan to deliver, and order to cash. These are the major processes, end-to-end processes that you look for when it comes to the ERP part of it. It includes the order processing, it includes the inventory receipts and delivery part, it includes the inventory movement within the warehouse, versus it includes the finances where you're collecting the cash versus you're doing the payments, as well as there is a lot of reconciliation happening. There is a service module over there. So there are a lot of things, but as I said, these four processes for me are the primary tasks, like which we are prepared on the standard format of infer. And the thing is, if you look at if I break it down into scripts, like in finance, that's where we have spent a lot of effort in building those pre-built scripts, 254, and it's growing with time, and as much as possible, like as we are learning from more use cases from the customers. Procurement, manufacturing, and sales. You can just we have even tried to get down into multiple processes, sub-processes with the modules, like say procurement has supplier management, material management, requisitions, quotations, contracts, orders, schedules, vendor handling, and the landed costs, something like that, right? So there are so many processes which I have broken. And the thing is, the beauty about the framework, which I'll be talking over here in the next thing is, Importantly, just wanted to make a note, like whenever you have a question, technical or a functional or anything related to the suit, I'll say like just put them onto the Q&A. Like I'll respond to that as much as possible at the end of it, or maybe in the middle, maybe we can have a quick round of a Q&A. So if you are there on YouTube, or you are there on LinkedIn, or you are there on Facebook, or there are two more other platforms, Daily Motion, as well as one where anytime just under the video you get the messages, there is a message box, you can just messages and we will respond. I'll respond personally. So having said that, like this is something the framework that I'm talking, the scripts, this is something within the Infer ERPLN. Simul have built similar framework on the EAM as well, and finally and even going towards M3 as well as the other ERP Oracle as well. And Simul, and the best part here is we are not restricting our processes just to Infer. We're even in challenges that are coming in, so that I can achieve the maximum coverage in the form of automation. So far, what we claim is like 92%. That's a big score, because I remember the first project that we did. Our targets started from 60, and when was reaching around 80, 85. And here in this case, because of our readiness, we are starting from 92, and I'll say like sometimes we have even touched the 100 mark. So customizations, it doesn't matter like your code. We don't need to get into your code, because since you see on the right side, it's more of a keyword and data driven, and it's an integration Selenium framework that we're talking, which works on the browser as long as ERP season. If you see here, it supports 10.4 onwards, because prior the web UI version was there. We were not having from Infer those mingles and of the web browsers. They were not supporting. So there was little complexity and chat. We have done utilizing the same framework. It was different. We were using UF. But having said that, life is much easier post 4, where Infer has gone this thing multifold on the technology front. So the Selenium integration with TestNG framework is what it's driving everything. Simultaneously, we are integrated with Jira, TestRail, and ETAP. And we are open. There is a very intelligent reporting mechanism that is integrated within the framework, where there are so many widgets over there where we can drop and customize the look and feel of your look and feel for the better user experience. So that's over there. And the SOX compliant, which is very essential, because when you're testing, at times you need to have those evidences in the form of video, in the form of screenshots, in the form of audit logs. That's what we are offering. Any questions anytime, just please push them. I'll respond to it. Just a quick snap of one of the critical flow, procure to pay, as I talk about, which is on demand. I can always do one-on-one this particular this one, say simple. If I just put it, says purchase order processing, receipt, inventory is being received, then the purchase invoice and the payment processing. 4 steps. But having said that, each step has multi substeps, right? So if you just look at the flow, I need to create a purchase order, need to generate, need to approve it. Then we print it. It goes to the vendor. Yes, vendor portal, if it's there, we can integrate, or else like we can just wait for the approvals for the vendor, where if somebody comes and keys that approval part or that one, and it's automated here. Then you release the PO to the warehousing for the receipts. You do the warehouse receipts, then the respective, you receive the invoice, it is read, and it's actually entered into your finance, and the respective payments happen. Now this part, if I say what we have done is like we are doing a lot of validations. It's not just that end of the flow, I give you a status saying like it's a pass. We give more than that. We do a lot of positive testing as well as negative testing of each and every critical field, that is field values that are there. It could be a format, it could be a date format, it could be delivery date calculation part, or say the receipt date on the PO confirmation part, and the approvals part, even the compliance part, like if somebody who's not authorized or authorized from the user standpoint. So this whole process at a key of a button, or at a click of a button, executes 5.5 minutes, because that's where, because it can be beyond that also based on the performance of your system. So it works 5.5 minutes, total of 72 positive and negative test cases. And as I said, like from the scripting standpoint, the how the script looks like, say, it's majorly data driven and keyword driven, which makes it very easy for us to actually modify it if at all you have some customizations over in any of those forms, on the purchase order form or approval form, or maybe on the report that you have some change, or maybe from the report you want to pick some information, right? And it can be independent of the browser. It can be like, so for us we prefer the Chrome, but yes, it can be, because sometimes compliance demands, uh, we have seen one of the customers who is not there on Edge, he's still working on the Internet Explorer, so it doesn't matter. Something about the framework, if you see, as I said, we are doing a lot of assertions. We have gone to the extent that, like, it's not just that, like, it's floating on the screen. We even do internal tests when it comes to uh, internal checks of the data, how exactly it's populating into the system, or check into the performance of those routines as well. Say there are some APIs that we can always add, where we can pull the trigger some DLLs, which are, if I understand the in terminology, we call them DLLs. We can trigger some DLLs through those APIs and check how exactly the data is executing. Some DB assertions we can do, if at all. The best example that I give is, like, once you do the receipt, there is a liability that gets created on the finance, which we are not aware of. Like, it doesn't show up on any of the receipt screen. But yes, that's that part also we check, and we confirm that liability got created properly. And there are so many different accelerators are there, and all that gets captured into a report portal, an integrated report portal, which is available simultaneously. It can be that, like, there is a defect management system. It can be any of your defect management system, like it can be Jira, it can be Octane, it can be anything like that, right? And as a part of evidence, screenshots, like if somewhere the test fails, means the test is success because it failed to run anything across, like we capture those screenshots, there's a video recording, and the log file for verification and validation. So this is how, if you see, look at the framework, there's more to the framework. How there is something, a very essential part, which I'm sure, like, you might be finding out, how actually you are creating those scripts, right? That's a very important part which I'll be addressing. This is the one. So record and replay, this is where I'll say it becomes child's play now. This is not that somebody has to sit and write hundreds and tons of code and then create the script, and that's how then the automation happens. We call it a hybrid approach. That's where within this test assure we are leveraging the record and replay. And the direct benefits are, like, the way you function, the way you manage your services, you just have to execute that thing, and the scripts get generated automatically. And that's the benefit that we are passing on to our users, where if there is a change, you just need to record it again and pass it on to us. So the direct benefits are, like, easy to record a business flow, very user friendly, very intuitive in handling product based flow testing, right? And you can always modify those scripts very easily, and attend those errors and mistakes, if at all that are there. As a part, like, before promoting a fix, obviously you have to modify something, right? It's ideal for doing those navigation testing and the product testing with fixed features. Yes, that's very very easy. Like, I'm just keeping it the direct benefits part of it, and it's best useful creating the foundation layer of it, because when it comes to the actual business processes, what happens is you have to go beyond this. It's not the base test that works, because there is a complexity. The dimension comes into play when what happens is the process has become very very the you need to have more in-depth information that you want to build. There are more assertions, the additional assertions and validations that you need to do. So what we have done is, like, we have gone it the other way, where the first level, the base level, we try to create through the record and play, and after that we modify the script to fine tune your requirements. So that's where I'll say, like, the optimization from the cost of, we optimize the cost of maintenance, uh, and we have maximized the code coverage, which is very, 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 very important when it comes to regressions, because you need to cover as much as possible when it's a complex business process. And by simply enhancing the script with custom developed code, like so. And this is where I talked about the reusability, means we don't just go and modify it in one script. Say like in LN, because I have some strong background on the technical front on the LN side, where I remember there is a concept of DLLs and functions are there, where the reusability comes into play. So the same concept here, the libraries we are creating, so that you just need to modify it one place and it will take care of all the places where it has to be updated. Then that's the reusability that I'm talking, which makes it very, very modular. And the limitations with the APIs, database, and integration testing is also covered. So as a part of hybrid benefits, right? So if I talk about the approach, what you should do, where you should start, I'll say this is something very interesting. This is where the consulting comes in. Like, so there are two ways of looking at the test automation. It can be as a part of services, if you have that capability at your end to take that consulting thing up, or it can be part of the consulting where you are clear about like that change management is not something which I can handle, which should be consulted. So ideal approach will be hiring a partner with a good domain product and the testing expertise. So that combination is very essential, because if the domain is not there, what happens is you'll just hire a bunch of test engineers and they will wait for you to tell you like how exactly your business process is. You have to tell them their business processes right in detail, what kind of assertions or validations are critical for your business process. If you hire somebody who is having a product expertise only, means ERPLN or the cloud suite expertise, they'll just end up doing that testing on the technical front, which is not appropriate when it comes to ERP. And as I said, like if you just hire services from a testing expertise, it's again like you have to do everything from scratch, and you just have to tell them everything from beginning, that what exactly you want, and they will do it for you. So ideal approach is hire a partner who has a domain expertise. Say you are in the manufacturing domain, say you, and then you are employed, your manufacturing software or the ERP software is Infer, and the guys who have. So this is where like I'll say like I take that credit, like that's what we are bringing in, where this is the rightful combination that we carry the domain, product, and the testing expertise. You can start with a small POC. If at all you think like it's a big approach, like how can I start immediately? Start with a small POC, maybe a screen or two. Look into that part. Give us an opportunity to showcase to you how exactly this whole thing works. Why we say like it's so easy to adapt and easy to go cross that the challenge. Start with a small POC. Change management has to be very strong at your end, because that's where you will identify when should you execute this particular test suite. So that part is very essential for you. And I'll say like rather immediately just getting into the component side of it, component with small detail. I'll say start with the regression, because ERPs, as I say, like for us, it's very we understand it better when you say like procure to pay or order to cash. Then after that, once this phase is done, once you have a good understanding on the regression, then get into the regularization of execution of test scripts. And I'll say it doesn't take much time. A paid POC, a 1 week, and the implementation maximum 6 to 10 weeks, based on your complexities and the integrations and the framework and the data that you have, and even including the performance of your system. So there are, and I'll say, yeah, the biggest challenge that we have faced is your policies, your the infrastructure policies. That's where a little, because you are introducing a new system into your infrastructure. So that's where a little time gets absorbed. But otherwise, if everything is clear, straightforward, the POC is 1 week and implementation 6 to 10 weeks for maybe two end-to-end processes, right? Thank you. This is where I stand. The next webinar we are doing on AP automation, the benefits of accounts, automating your accounts payable processes. It's a major process, a major step towards making your finances streamlined. And do attend that webinar, which is next week, next Thursday, where we are conducting this one. Very, very interesting product on Infor ERTLN. Anything that you have, thank you. If you have any questions, I'll be loving to respond to you on that. So anytime you have any questions, you can reach me out on LinkedIn, or you can even reach me out on the email ID that I'm. Please do reach out to us on markham.selotech.com, and we'll see you on the other side. Like, do connect with us. We will be looking forward at working closely with you. Thank you. Take care.